DICE announced what's coming in Battlefield 2042's next two updates. Halo Infinite's live service might be its undoing, GPU prices are falling, and much more on Today in Gaming. Hey guys, LevelCap here. Patch notes for Battlefield 2042's 3.3 update are now live. The update goes live tomorrow and includes an actual scoreboard. DICE have made some tweaks to the information presented on it. Teams are split and deaths are now included. The scoreboard retains the mode and personal progress panel currently in-game. DICE still consider this to be a work in progress and will continue tweaking it in future updates. Unfortunately, the rest of the patch notes are very minor. A game crash on Xbox One has been fixed. Aim assist now works as intended when your analog stick is in its maximum range. DICE relocated a data center from EU to Frankfurt, and they fixed some minor mode bugs for Conquest, Breakthrough, and Hazard Zone. The patch notes also include some info about the next update for the game. That's going live in early April. It'll include squad voice chat, an update to the scoreboard so that it'll work in the end of round screen, balance changes for vehicles, and an overhaul of the attachment system for infantry weapons. Needless to say, that update sounds significantly more interesting than just getting a scoreboard. Halo Infinite's live service isn't going so well. Despite the game's stellar gameplay and overall reception, the lack of post-launch content has been a huge complaint for players. Since launch, they've been waiting for classic features like campaign co-op, forge mode, and split screen, which have been staples of the franchise since Halo 1. Players are also waiting for new multiplayer maps and an overhaul of the in-game store. Unfortunately though, 343 have announced more delays for campaign co-op. It was initially expected to launch with Season 2 starting in early May. They announced over the weekend that co-op is now coming later in Season 2. No specific date was given. Forge mode, on the other hand, is currently in closed testing with a small group of players and is expected to launch with Season 3. One thing that might be slowing the developers down is turnover. Senior developers have been slowly leaving 343 since 2019. So far, Infinite has lost its lead narrative designer, creative director, project director, and now the game's lead multiplayer design is leaving. He's been with the studio for 3 years and oversaw Infinite's free-to-play multiplayer. Halo fans and players are worried that the long-term mismanagement has created a mess for the developers of Infinite. Development for the project apparently went through multiple reboots before landing on what eventually launched, with Microsoft bringing in key talent from the franchise's past to get things on track. It's tough to say what impact Infinite's pre-launch production woes really had on the final product, especially considering the pandemic turning everything sideways for the entire industry. But it's clear that players are hungry for more content, and it's releasing too slowly for many. It's not all bad news for Infinite though. The game's latest update made some huge improvements to first-person animations, audio balance, anti-cheat stability, and more. First-person animation rate interpolation between keyframes has been fixed. What that means in English is that weapon reloading, mantling, and other actions will look as smooth and as fluid as your frame rate rather than looking stuttery even at high FPS. This update would probably be very well received if the game got more content like new maps and free modes. What do you guys think? Do you think Halo Infinite's delays are really hurting the overall experience, or do you think the devs will turn things around with bigger updates and new content? Let us know in the comments. GPU prices might drop to normal levels in the next few months. Industry analysts monitoring MSRP, aftermarket pricing, and other factors have concluded GPU pricing is trending down this year. And while that's good news, it's a trend that we've also seen before, only for the prices to skyrocket as new shortages and delays have occurred. Right now, prices are about 30 to 40% above MSRP, and that's down from over 80% at the start of the year. Availability in general has improved massively in recent months, and that's probably the critical factor in price dropping. Even on reseller sites like eBay, pricing is dropping. And while availability is certainly a big factor in secondhand pricing, a big factor as well is the fact that the crypto market is nosediving. GPUs have been in high demand for mining Ethereum, and gamers have had to compete with crypto miners just to get their graphics cards. The real question is where GPU prices will end up once all of these issues are behind us. The demand for PC hardware and people's willingness to buy it at seemingly any cost has undoubtedly inflated Nvidia, AMD, and Intel's egos when it comes to MSRP. If people are willing to pay $1,500 or more for a mid to high range GPU today, chances are that they'll be ready to pay the same price tomorrow. The stock shortages are the most significant factor in people's willingness to overpay. But who's to say Nvidia and AMD won't continue overcharging for their GPUs until they find a new minimum consumers will accept? An internal playtest for the upcoming action brawler Gotham Knights was briefly available on Steam. The game is being developed by the Batman Arkham Origins team at Warner Bros. Games. It follows Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and other heroes from the franchise following the death of Bruce Wayne. It supports 4-player co-op and is scheduled to launch sometime this year. The playtest was spotted on Steam's database and had at least one person playing it before it was pulled. Speculation suggests it's a closed beta that will be announced soon. A leak is currently doing the rounds saying that Gotham Knights is launching in April, and if that's true, a closed beta this month to sort out technical issues does make a lot of sense. A new mod for Cyberpunk 2077 adds a major gameplay feature. The aptly named Vehicle Combat mod adds the ability to fire weapons while driving. The mod also reworks police gangs and factions so they pursue you with backup coming in unless you disable their communications. And it's not a groundbreaking improvement or anything like that, but it does greatly enhance the immersion of driving through Night City with a band of cops and gangs behind you. The mod is compatible with Cyberpunk's massive 1.5 update, but it still has a few bugs. Battle Royale Super People just ended its closed beta test, and the developers are laying out their plans for early access. They'll be working on anti-cheat, improved optimization, a proper tutorial mode, an in-game shooting range, replay mode, and much more. These changes will be implemented before the game launches in early access. There's no ETA for the early access launch, but the devs will announce info as soon as they get closer. Steam Deck's list of verified titles has reached 1,000 games. That's a huge milestone for Valve's portable PC console. Basically, if you're interested in buying a Steam Deck or already have your order in, chances are that whatever game you want to play will probably run just fine. Some users recently discovered Apex Legends works on Steam Deck, which is one of the first major multiplayer games using easy anti-cheat that works on the device. It's unclear if the devs updated Apex to work on Steam Deck or if it just works by some miracle of coincidence. Either way, it's exciting news. Rainbow Six Siege's Year 7 Season 1 kicks off tomorrow. The update is called Demon's Veil and adds a new defense operator, Azami. She has throwable kuni blades that create large, bulletproof discs. They can cover holes in walls and create cover on surfaces. Explosions do break the discs, but they seem incredibly powerful regardless of their counter. NVIDIA's recent data breach is getting pretty serious. Malware disguised as official driver updates using NVIDIA's security keys is currently making its way online. If you download drivers from anywhere other than the official NVIDIA download page, there's a good chance that you could be installing a virus or malicious software on your PC. Until Microsoft updates Windows to block the serial numbers being used with this malware, nothing stops it from being installed successfully. Before we get to our final story today, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. Let us know what story stood out to you the most in the comments, and of course don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future news. Ubisoft has joined the growing list of companies halting sales of their products in Russia. The French publisher announced the shutdown this morning in an update to their original blog post about the conflict from earlier in the month. Many gamers on social media view studios shutting down sales in Russia as something that affects citizens more than the country's government. It's hard to know what actions to take right now and which ones will be effective. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.